I don't know, Miles Teller. I just need help. I can't think of a cool YouTube channel name for my movie channel. Fuck, why are you looking at me like that? Like, my name is Zach, and I really like cinema, so I'm just trying to come up with a cool combination for my YouTube channel name.
Say that again?
What? Cinema?
Say that again?
Cinema? Oh my god. ZakIsCinema. Thanks, Miles Teller.
Gotta say, it's fantastic.
You know, it is fantastic. Thanks, The Thing.
Yes, it is.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to ZakIsCinema. Yes, welcome back, everybody. You know, if you find yourself just struggling to find someone to talk to about movies because you realize you have nobody that'll even bother listening, well, you could put that problem aside because now we have each other here. So welcome to your new home at ZakIsCinema, and yeah, let's talk about some movies here. Today we're going to be doing another movie review, so let's just hop right into it. Today we are going to be reviewing and discussing the movie Fantastic Four, which came out in 2015. Or sorry, Fan-4-Stick, as people like to refer it to. So for director, we got Josh Trank. Writers, we have Jeremy Slater, Simon Kinberg, and Josh Trank. Starring in the movie, we got Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, and Jamie Bell. So as we hop into the review for Fan-4-Stick 2015, we're obviously leading up to our new Fantastic Four movie coming out in just a couple days or so. So like I've said a couple of times now, I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Looks like a new interesting Marvel movie that doesn't look like the millions of others that they've released in the past 20 years here. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Like I've said in my other Fantastic Four reviews, I've kind of grown up, I missed out on these Fox Marvel movies here and missed out on this 2015 version of Fantastic Four, all the earlier ones. So I find myself trying to catch back up and rediscover those ones. But yeah, for some reason, I like vividly remember when this movie was coming out because people were looking forward to it. People were excited because, you know, the original ones, it has their fans, but they are very dated, not what they could have been really. So when this one came out, I remember the day the review embargo lifted and it debuted on Rotten Tomatoes with like an 11% or something. Just everybody trashing on this movie, and just immediately, I think the day it released, they just canceled any further sequels or development with this. And then I think this is kind of the movie that really just ended the Fox universe here, and I think a couple years after is when it went to Disney. So I'm almost positive this movie did not help with that decision here, but honestly, this was the one I was most excited to check out just because I don't think I've ever had lower expectations going into any movie, because I've never heard anyone say one thing even remotely positive about this movie. So I'm like, hey, maybe this will be a good guilty pleasure. Maybe it'll just be fun trashing on it. Maybe it'll kind of surprise me here. I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of my expectations going in here. So yeah, let's jump into the review section, starting with the positives or just the things that I enjoyed about this movie. So I will say I do have a couple positives, not much, but they're here, okay? So to me, I kind of like how Dr. Doom in this movie is already this distrusted individual. He has a history with some of the characters and with Sue Storm, and how he's been trying to figure out this teleportation device and kind of fucked over some people, fucked over the company, and this, I believe it's called Quantum Project. And he already already knows Sue Storm. He already knows Sue Storm's dad as well. And his dad has this relationship with him, still kind of trusts him, wants to get him involved because he sees the potential in Von Doom. So it gives a little bit more backstory to the character. It makes him a little bit more interesting than I think the original did with Doctor Doom, or at least that initial setup. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. He already has a history. He already has a reason to be bitter towards the government and the people at this project here. Looks like he's going down a dark path. Like, it makes sense why Sue Storm's dad would want to try to help him out and hopefully turn things around for him. So I like that he was kind of already established and had this history. And I do think for the most part, it probably helped that I just watched the original two, then watched this one. But I think the superpower effects and CGI for the most part look okay to pretty good. Like Reed Richards' stretch effects look pretty good. Nothing amazing. They're still not the best, but like compared to the original, significantly better. I think the Thing looks significantly better in this movie than in the originals with just his Halloween costume. He's fully CGI here. You don't get to see too much of him, unfortunately, but I think he does hold up pretty well. I think Johnny Storm's flames look better. Sue Storm's invisible effects look pretty good too. So overall, I think they could do a little bit more with those effects, and they do hold up pretty good 10 years later here. And I'm not sure if it's a hot take or not, because I've heard Dr. Doom kind of looks like this just awful character with like melted plastic trash bags all over him. But to me, I kind of liked how Dr. Doom looked in the movie at points. There's points where it's pretty rough, especially just the surrounding environment, but I do kind of like the idea and the visualization of his protective suit just melting and conforming and fusing with his skin and body. Do I think they could have made it look a lot better? Yes, but I think what we got is pretty good. I don't know. I kind of like it. I think it gets a little unnecessary hate. It's not the best visual interpretation, but I think it's a cool idea and it looks pretty good, at least to me here. But yeah, unfortunately, that is all I have for positives. So let's jump over to our mixed section for the movie. So at first, this one was going to be in my positives until the movie continued on, but I liked how at the beginning they kind of show some of our Fantastic Four characters very early on in their lives, like kind of growing up and everything. I thought that was interesting. Could have done a lot more with it, but I appreciated that it was a lot different than the original, at least at the beginning here. But it's just so over the top, goofy, and cheesy, you can't really get invested with it. Like Reed Richards is, your stereotypical nerdy kid, and he's presenting a science fair project and all these things. At one point, his teacher is just laughing at him, telling him to sit down. It's just so stupid. And then with the Things character, I audibly laughed when his abusive brother would shout, "It's clobbering time," before severely just beating his brother. Like, they try to build it up as he's from this abusive, non-loving home, but as soon as his brothers just like paused and said, "It's clobbering time," and then went to like beat his brother, it just takes any dramatic moment ripped out of that scene. There's nothing behind it there. And it's just, like I said, it's just so goofy. It's hard to take serious, and it just doesn't really work well for these characters. And maybe I'd feel something if it was well done, but then they jump 7 years into the future where they're older, Reed Richards and the Things characters doing this mini transportation thing, and then like all the scientists or teachers judging it tell them it's like fake magic and it's not real, so everyone's just like disregarding him. And I'm like, okay, like even if it was magic, that's pretty fucking cool, and wouldn't you want to know a little bit more about it? So I don't know, it just unfortunately didn't work for me here. And again, at first, I kind of liked how the movie set up this almost Suicide Squad-esque team of this unlikely set of characters kind of all working together. It's cliche at this point, but if it's done well, I think it really works well. But I feel like this movie really just montages through all of the interesting character points that it could have really had, especially in the earlier scenes when they're trying to work on this teleportation device thing. It just kind of montages through, but yet just drags so much so it fails to do anything interesting with it. Like the first 30 minutes are basically just montaging, showing the team building this science thing, and you really miss out on any of the group dynamics. And I feel like that's the most important part for the Fantastic Four, is that whole team thing. It's like having an Avengers movie and just montaging through all the cool team building stuff. It makes no sense. But yeah, let's jump into my negatives, or the things that I just didn't like about this movie. And unfortunately, this movie really is as bad as I've heard. It's a slog. It's kind of difficult to get through. Like at first it started, I'm like, oh, okay, it's not too bad. But then it kept going here. And first, I think none of the science stuff is very interesting. Like I said, most of it's done through montages or just not really delved into all that much. And we get almost into like an hour into the movie before they reach the planet, and then that accident stuff happens, and then they get their powers. And I think this movie is like an hour and 35 minutes, an hour and 40 minutes. So you're already 60 going on 70% of the movie until they even become the Fantastic Four, which is just such a baffling decision, really. And then when all the characters go to this planet, it's just so stupid. They're all so fucking stupid for being these smart scientist people. Like, I get these are college kids, but they just use a teleportation device without authorization. They use it like it's some fucking toy. They go to this planet where no humans have ever been, and I thought they were just going to go there and come right back, but then they start like, oh, let's explore, let's go touch this green shit over here, and act like complete idiots. That it doesn't make me feel for any of them. I'm glad they all got infected and almost killed, because that's what you deserve. They all act like these kids in a museum on a field trip trying to touch shit every 2 seconds, and it's just so stupid. Like at one point, Von Doom, before he turns into Dr. Doom, like I said, he sticks his hand into this green energy source and is surprised when something goes wrong and the planet starts to explode around them. And I'm like, what the fuck did you think was gonna happen? And like I said, it's almost an hour in until this dumb scene. It's just nothing before then, and then we get to this scene, and it's just an hour in until something interesting kind of happens. And all these characters are just not that interesting. It's hard to feel for any of them because they're just so stupid, and they remind me of a group of dumb teenagers in a slasher movie. And I'm like, yeah, everybody deserves what's coming to them. And then not even the effects, like I said, the environment effects, like when they go to that planet first, just the CGI world around them looks like it's a slightly better version of Spy Kids. You could just tell they're all on green screens, blue stages, and everything like that, and it just doesn't look very good. And this movie lacks what I really appreciated with the first Fantastic Four movie, when they all find out they're superhumans and all accidentally figure out their powers. Instead, this movie, they just have their powers. Another time jump happens. They're all locked up in labs, just like showing off their powers. So there's no discovery, there's no mystery involved in any of this. It doesn't try to do anything new or different. It just shows them they have their powers. And then since they're all locked up in this lab, you don't get any chance of them trying to figure it out together. Fun, interesting sci-fi stuff like that. They're just being studied like lab rats, and it's just so boring. And again, I think this movie has a montage issue, like right after they get their powers, figure out what they do as it's exposition to us. It just jumps a year later when all the Fantastic Four characters, except Reed Richards, we'll get into it, have been just working for the government, and again skips over some of the interesting development that could have happened. They just all kind of accept it, and they're like, yeah, the government's going to find us a cure, might as well work for them in the meantime. And then it jumps into that dumb government plot where the government is just getting excited about their new toys and pawns for the military weapons, something that we've seen a million times before, so not even that is very interesting at all. And like I said, I love Miles Teller as an actor. I wish he would do more because I think what he's shown he could do in movies like Whiplash, I think he has a lot of potential that I feel like just hasn't been used. And he could have been a good Reed Richards, but I hate what they do with him in this movie. Like, Reed Richards is supposed to be the leader and almost the face of the Fantastic Four, and instead, once they get their powers and come back, he just runs away from the group, acts like a big pussy, and the movie then spends time with the Fantastic Four trying to go off and find him here. So he just runs off to try and find the cure on himself, but he just abandons his team. So I'm like, oh great, he's a piece of shit now too. I don't like anybody in this group. And about an hour and 7 minutes in, we finally get our first action set piece, which lasts about 10 to 11 seconds when they find Reed Richards and capture him. And at this point, I'm like, I slowly realized there really is no story or definitely no villain in the movie or main goal that all these characters are working towards. They're just working towards supporting the government and finding a cure, which we know they will never find. So it just feels like nothing really happens and the team's not even working together. So it's like, guys, you're making a Fantastic Four movie without any of the team stuff. What are we doing? And it's honestly just laughable and embarrassing how this movie does not introduce Doctor Doom until literally the last 20 minutes of the movie. This movie actually goes about an hour and 20 minutes without a villain of any kind, which is insane. You know, when the team comes back to that planet, there's no build-up or tension or anything, just he's the villain. He now has this profound love for this green planet that he got his powers from, and he was waiting for them to come back because now he's going to destroy them and destroy Earth because that's all it is. And he vomits this to us, and it's the last 20 minutes, so there's really no build up to any of it. Things just happen. And again, the ending battle is unfortunately shit. It makes the first two originals look significantly better compared to this. Doom just tries to destroy the world and everyone on it, creates a black hole and is sucking Earth into it. Richards gives the most monotoned, lame speech I have ever heard, and then instead of fighting separately, they come together as the Fantastic Four. They beat on him for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then they push him into the black hole beam thingy that he's created, and then he dies unceremoniously. I think his death in Silver Surfer, looking back on it, was a little bit better now. Maybe I was a little too harsh on that in those third act battles, because it literally just happens and then it's done. I'm like, oh my god, you guys didn't even resolve that in an afternoon. It's like they resolved it during a lunch break. And oh my god, I've seen this scene before. Everybody knows the scene, but the way this movie leaves off on that dumbass scene with them coming up with their team name and...
Why would we need a name?
Because we're a team now, and there's 4 of us, so we should come up with a name for it.
Someone says, fantastic, and then Miles Teller's say that again. And then it, cuts off to the title screen of Fantastic Four. What a lame...
Say that again?
It's fantastic.
Lame. lame ending. Like, maybe if that was in the middle of the movie, people wouldn't have picked on it as much, but to leave your movie off on something so stupid like that, just no, there's nothing there. Nothing there. It's so frustrating watching that. But I would say overall, when this movie started, like I said, I really thought to myself, like, oh, okay, they're doing something different. It feels a little bit similar, but they're showing more. Some of the effects look better. I'm like, okay, maybe this won't be as bad as I've heard. However, after nothing happened for the first 30 to 45 minutes, close to an hour, I realized this movie had nothing going on in it. It's a superhero origin story without any of the character development, team building, action, or adventure that makes this just ultimately forgettable. It just ends up being an awful movie that I will never watch again because there's no reason to ever watch this again. So for my rating for this movie is I have it as this is a movie I would never own, I would never rent, I would never stream, I would never illegally torrent this to ever watch it again because I don't need to and I don't want to. So yes, you guys have my thoughts on Fan 4 Stick or Fantastic Four 2015. Let me know down below. Did you check this out in theaters? What did you think of it then? Has your opinion changed? I don't know. Do you find it as bad as everybody else does? Do you kind of appreciate this movie? Do you have a hot take on this movie? I'm curious, so let me know all that down below here. But I appreciate anybody watching my videos, so thank you so much. And yeah, look forward to more ZakIsCinema coming very soon.